dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it'll change your
Good
life.
morning, Matt. It's springtime in America, in the world. I guess it's been spring for a while now, but in this part of the country, it has stopped raining for the first time in weeks, so it feels a little bit like spring. You love it?
Springtime in America, winter for Eberron and Toril.
That's right. This is Dungeon Master of None. I'm Dungeon Master Rob.
I'm Dungeon Master Matt.
And we have to issue a correction, friends, families.
Or a fatwa. We can issue lots of things on this podcast.
Listeners, we were wrong, incorrect, misinformed.
Okay.
As it turns out, Mike Mearls is not no longer working on Dungeons and Dragons. He was merely splitting his time between the CRPG and the TTRPG. He is now back working full-time on the tabletop. So if you expected Wizards to do even the bare minimum to sideline somebody who did a bad thing, boy, were you wrong.
It's just one more tick in the column of everything is terrible for really no reason, honestly.
Not, again, this is like part of the thing is like, there's no reason to go out of your way to defend or give special treatment to Mike Mearls. He's fine. There are 1,000 equally good game designers who don't have, issues in their background. You could easily shove him into a back office somewhere and have him working on something that doesn't matter, never put his name on anything, and nobody would be worse off for it. But God forbid anything get better for any reason.
No.
That's anyway. So
No one can have nice things. It's also fun that they announced this in like a Twitch stream.
Yeah, it was a Twitch stream, like just like
offhand
casually,
comment. Yeah, like, oh yeah, of course he still works here. He's just not allowed to tweet anymore. That was his punishment for being a really awful human being.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing that happened to him.
Twitter jail.
So yeah, that's enough about that. We got a pretty a hefty docket for today. I have prepared a reading series. We're going to do a little bit of monster design toward the end.
Right.
We might, if we're brisk about our timeline, even answer some letters. We'll see. But let's jump into this. Matt, I've been meaning to do one of these for a long time, but we just kept having other priorities, and so finally, I think it's time for us to have our Dungeon Master of None reading series where we survey the vast swath of Dungeons and Dragons, TTRPG related articles, literature, hot takes, and today I'm going to start us with a classic.
I can already, I think I have an idea of what this is gonna be, Rob, and so just stop me if I'm reading the wrong thing, if I've guessed the wrong thing. Okay, here I go. The life and death of Skeld, the famous race of Speardanes. Lo, the Speardanes' glory through splendid achievements. Wait, are we doing Beowulf?
Oh, if only. No. Oh God, actually, I went a different direction with this, Matt.
Okay, all right.
No, what I'll be reading
What
I'll be reading from today is called A Christian Response to Dungeons and Dragons: The Catechism of the New Age by Peter Leithart and George Grant from 1987, published by Dominion Press in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh my God, I am so excited.
This is dedicated to our children. May they ever be able to discern the difference. Philippians 1, 9 through 11. If you're
Wait,
curious...
so the children discern the difference between being children or not?
may they ever be able to discern the difference. In
All
case
right,
you were curious about what Philippians 1, 9 through 11 is about, it is, and this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ. So, a Christian response to Dungeons and Dragons, the catechism of the New Age.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Parents are concerned. And well, we should be. Our children are growing up in a very hazardous world. Not only are they forced to pick their way through a complex maze of conflicting values at school, in the neighborhood, and out in the marketplace, but they are even...
Oh, is there another kind of maze that they have to be worried about?
There might be.
Subterranean
we
maze?
might be getting to another more literal type of maze in a moment. But they are even being...
Like what this author is doing here.
But they are even being assaulted in the safety, this is in quotation marks, of their own homes. Across the airways have come a barrage of violent, irreverent, fantastic, and occultic Saturday morning cartoons. This is the 80s. This is the 80s. This is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Inspector Gadget. He-Man, maybe. Listen, Skeletor.
80s. Yeah,
Skeletor definitely does a Satanism. That's true.
Maybe the Christian right had a point here, and they were prophetic, and they knew that in the 20 teens that Noel Stevenson would
recreate
a
She-Ra, a wonderful
retelling of She-Ra, and it was all
that
the gay agenda
corrupts our children and makes them homos. Yes,
yes.
But by the way,
if you've never read Lumberjanes, it is amazing.
It's really good. I haven't seen the new She-Ra, but I'm a big fan of Lumberjane, so it's probably good. Anyway, so the next, funny that you mentioned this.
Noel, a kindred spirit, plays D&D.
D&D. Yeah, she and her wife both play D&D. They're very cool. Follow them on Twitter. The next sentence is, out of the toy box has come a haunting phalanx of magical and monstrous macho images. Look at that beautiful alliteration. Off the bookshelf has come a frightening parade of pulp and pap. Comics and paperback books that exalt the basest of vices. And to say...
yes, the 80s, when pulp novels really had a bunch of macho and sexy images.
That's right.
This hasn't been in America since the 1930s.
Yeah. And disdain the highest of virtues. And then, of course, Matt, there is MTV. Sex, drugs, violence, and rebellion, and defilement on tap 24 hours a day, all at the flick of a switch and the turn of a dial. The seductive...
MTV was, so much more harmless in the 1980s than it was, with its reality shows.
You can find anything. Just randomly, clicking on anything on YouTube is worse than anything you could find on MTV in 1987, by far. I guess this is probably, right... when did Madonna come out with, what was her song where she... dances
like a prayer?
It's like a prayer. Sorry, could not remember. Didn't that come out in?
Take you there, on my knees. Just, it's a very hot song.
It's a very good song. That's 89. So even this was before Like a Prayer, which people made. Anyway,
I have to say my first Madonna music video I ever saw, because I'm from a post MTV generation, was the song she did where she was going country.
Oh,
and she
yeah,
just
that's
sort
right.
of twirls around
her country shift. Yeah.
And you're oh God, I'm so glad we're past lowrider jeans. It's such a dated look. I don't know. My opinions on fashion should not be.
I want to be clear that Matt and I are. This is before our time. Matt and I came up after the height of the Satanic Panic, and I was not allowed to watch cable television, so I didn't grow up with MTV. But this is anyway a core part of our of any nerd's identity. Anyway, the seductive siren song of the world has begun to seep into even the most protected of environments, and as a result, the hearts and minds and souls of our children have become a battleground. Amazingly, though, the chief weapon used in a spiritual raid on our children is a game. Just a simple little game. It is called Dungeons and Dragons. even more.
I love that these authors are like, okay, there's all these bad things out there, right? Corrupting our children. The most dangerous one is Dungeons and Dragons, whose cultural influence pales in significance to any of the other things mentioned.
The most dangerous game, Matt. Even more than all the cartoons, toys, comic books, videos, and music, this simple little game has served to make our children and this is in quotations as well, generation at risk.
I'd love for anyone in 1984 to read the D&D rules and describe them as a simple little game.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to talk about the rules right now, Matt.
Okay.
The next section is called, What is Dungeons and Dragons? It's Christmas morning. Brimming with excitement, Junior opens his first gift, a basic Dungeons and Dragons set. By the way, I believe by now we were well past basic. This is 87, so we're in...
basic you can still get basic.
I guess
right?
you can still get basic, right? Yeah. Inside, he finds a rule book, some graph paper, and an odd set of dice. No game board, no little men to move around. He checks the wrapping paper for missing pieces and begins to open the other packages, hoping to find the rest of his game. But Junior has all he needs to play Dungeons & Dragons.
His third eye is opened. Hell yeah, Junior.
Junior has all he needs to play Dungeons & Dragons, the granddaddy of the fantasy role-playing games, or FRPs, as this article calls them. And one of the fastest... Would you have preferred that FRP came in, was what we used instead of TTRPG? I don't know. Would that be better?
FRP sounds bad.
It sounds bad. And one of the fastest-selling games in the United States. The game, you see, doesn't take place on a board. Instead, you play in your head. In D&D, the basic rule is use your imagination, stretch it to the limit. Game boards and little men can be so confining. There are rules, of course, thousands and thousands of them, but the whole point of an FRP is to play a character whose actions are dictated by your imagination, not by the rules. Like drama without a script, D&D is so complicated that we can give only the barest description of how the game is played.
You know, this is not a bad description of D&D.
It's actually, so this is the thing, it's actually a decent description of the game itself. It's just, from here, they reach some really wild conclusions.
Well, I love how so many people, I think, struggle to describe Dungeons and Dragons to their friends, but we need to look at our enemies from a bygone era to be like, okay, this is what it is.
Before the game begins, each player must define his character. A roll of the dice determines the character's basic personality. 7 areas are rated: strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, comeliness, and charisma.
Comeliness.
Oh, comeliness, sorry.
That's okay.
Another roll of the dice...
We're glad that stat is gone.
Another roll of the dice decides each character's age, diseases, parasitic infestations, and special skills. I think this is correct.
I love the idea at character creation you could get, like, roll for tapeworms.
Let's see. The next few paragraphs talk about races. You can be a magic user. I'm going to skip over this.
Sure.
It's
the drill.
It's a pretty good description. Finally, the players choose their character's alignment from 3 basic possibilities: law, chaos, and neutral. Lawful characters. Oh wait, this is also just still description. I'll get to the end of this. Unlike conventional games, there is no real end to D&D. A typical session can last 4 to 12 hours. Games can continue for years if the players are skillful enough to survive the battles. As they conquer various monsters, in fact, they gain experience points and become more powerful and better equipped for battle. There aren't winners or losers.
Goddamn, I'm sold!
In any conventional sense, only a series of adventures that finally come to an end when a character dies. Like Matt is saying, this is actually a pretty good description of the game. This is like a very honest and straightforward description of how the rules work.
This is the thing about, like, the one thing I'm noticing about, like, our never-ending American culture war shit is that whenever someone is, like, describing something, they always make it seem so fucking enticing
so
and good.
Cool. Like when Sean Hannity tweets, something really great that Bernie said, and you're like, yes, Sean, that sounds awesome. What's the problem?
Unironically this.
I would love to read all of this. It's quite long. So the next section is called The Genesis of the Game, and it describes the invention by Gary Gygax and the whole, like, TSR, etc.
Noted Christian.
A couple of key quotes from this section. It mentions, of course, James Dallas Egbert, the boy who disappeared in the steam tunnels under Michigan State University, after which the Tom Hanks classic Mazes and Monsters is based off of.
I never mentioned this when we did Mazes and Monsters, but like my university had an extensive network of steam tunnels. And
I remember. Rice has a ton of steam tunnels.
There were maps floating around everywhere that you could get that were basically made in the 80s when like this was kind of a fad in universities. That were they looked like D&D maps, and I think one of the stupidest things I've ever done was sneak into the steam tunnels using like someone's keys, and that wasn't like such a bad idea other than, anything you touch could be, scaldingly hot.
Right, because it's steam tunnels.
Immediately electrocute you,
yeah.
Right? But I definitely took I made a bunch of torches by soaking scraps of t-shirts in gasoline and tying them to the end of sticks. And I was like, oh, this'll add to the ambiance. And it's like, okay, well, this is also a really great way to
in case you're not picking up on this, Matt could have very easily been another James Dallas Egbert himself. Your parents would have 100% waged a crusade against TSR if you had gone missing in the Rice steam tunnels.
I could have so easily electrocuted myself. Oh, it was bad.
So this paragraph describes James Dallas Egbert and what happened to him. And at the end, there's a quote, except for the disappearance of that boy and the resulting national exposure, TSR could have remained a steadily growing hobby game company instead of a skyrocketing one. Gygax agrees. Ultimately, it was immeasurably helpful to us in name recognition. We ran out of stock. I don't know if this is a real Gygax quote, but read the room, buddy. It also mentions that TSR, I don't know if this is true, but by 1985 was racking in more than 100 million in sales. Let's see. The motifs of FRPs are reinforced by all the other aspects of youth culture. Saturday morning cartoons feature the masters of the universe, muscle-bound barbarians living in a world of magicians, witches, and sorcerers.
By the power of Grayskull!
You can get Masters of the Universe dolls, balls, comic books, and videos. There's even a feminist version, She-Ra, Princess of Power.
I can't believe he specifically calls out She-Ra.
I mean, again, yeah. And then there are the Smurfs and the Care Bears, cute and cuddly, but born out of the same mentality.
The Smurfs, those decadent French cartoons.
If there's one thing I know, it's that Smurfs and Dungeons and Dragons have a lot to do with each other and share the same cultural landscape. That's true.
I don't know too much about the history of the Smurfs, but I feel like there is no common trunk to their intellectual branches.
I don't believe that they come from the same.
It's just like a Belgian cartoon. Or something, right?
It is. It's weird. Anyway, since 1980, D&D and its imitators have entered the mainstream of American life. Public schools use D&D to teach reading and math skills. Highly intelligent students are particularly attracted by the complexity and excitement. And D&D is often used in classes of gifted children. In Heber City, Utah, parental objections to D&D in the public school pressured the school board to discontinue its use. A Boy Scout post in Chattanooga uses D&D, and the game has been advertised in Boy's Life, the official Scout magazine. Some Catholic schools are using D&D. Public libraries open their doors for training and game sessions.
Do you think, okay, now I'm wondering, do you think the authors, given that they're in Fort Worth, Texas, I think they included that as like some anti-papist stuff?
I can't
as
tell.
Someone from North Texas, right?
This is a good question. I can't tell if this is meant to be those filthy papists are using rituals not just to worship the Mother Mary, but also to summon demons, or if it's just an example of how Dungeons and Dragons has corrupted the church. I'm not clear. I did not do much research into the background of these men. The moral dilemma is the next section. So why all the fuss? D&D sounds like a challenging and exciting new way to spend an evening. It must be educational, otherwise they wouldn't use it in public schools, right? Even the Boy Scouts use it. In the face of all this support, it seems almost un-American to suggest there are serious deficiencies with the game. I agree. There's nothing more American than Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D is as American as apple pie and baseball.
But there are serious defects. Very serious. In spite of the favorable financial results of the Egbert case.
Thaco. Thaco is the most serious defect.
The eerie course of events in spite of the favorable financial results of the Egbert case, the eerie course of events cast a shadow over the entire industry. Remember the freeway killer, Vernon Butts, who committed suicide in his jail cell in 1981 while being held as a suspect in a string of murders? I don't remember, but I'm sure he's a person. Butts was an avid D&D player who often communicated with visitors using a code developed as part of his D&D involvement. Another isolated incident? Is there
really a D&D serial killer?
No. He just happened to play D&D. Another isolated incident? Not hardly. Police reports around the country have connected FRP activity to more than 100 suicide and murder cases. Of course, not everyone who plays the game becomes suicidal or homicidal. Still, there are an awful lot of unsettling things going on in here. One of the chief defenses of FRPs is that they stimulate the imagination. This is undeniably true. The question is...
Stimulate me, daddy!
This is so good. The question is whether we want our imagination or that of our children stimulated in this particular way. Consider, for example, the level of violence and crime in a typical D&D game. All right, well, this is not necessarily wrong.
Sure.
One psychologist wrote, "There is hardly a game in which the players do not indulge in murder, arson, torture, rape, or highway robbery."
Whoa, okay.
And he likes the game. I could not find a source for this psychologist, so anyway. The Dungeon Master's Guide lists Hitler among those historical characters who exhibited true D&D charisma. So, like...
Yeah, I think that's in the DMG.
It is in the DMG, but it's meant as an example of somebody who has a commanding presence. It is not meant... You can have charisma and be bad. Just the fact that it mentions Hitler is... Anyway, whatever. But it gets worse, Matt. It gets worse. Because the violence in D&D is generally less graphic than in some of its imitators. Consider these characters from the Monster Manual. Harpy.
Okay.
The Harpies attack, torture, and devour their charmed prey. What they do not want, they foul with excrement.
Hey, listen, Christians have been saying this for generations. We gotta get our Greek mythology out of our religion.
Lizard men. They are omnivorous, but lizard men are likely to prefer human flesh to other foods. In this regard, they have been known to ambush humans, gather up the corpses and survivors as captives, and take the lot back to their lair for a rude and horrid feast. Or
I have a feeling these authors have now flipped to the Monster Manual page that has like the picture of the dryad with its tits out.
Oh, don't worry, we're getting to that, Matt. Don't worry. Or consider this selection from the critical hit table of the rulebook for Arduin Grimoire. Dice roll 37 to 38. Hit location: crotch/chest. Results: genitals/breast torn off. Shock. Dice roll 95. Hit location: guts ripped out. Results: 20% chance of tangling feet. Die in 1 to 10 minutes. Dice roll 100.
I love that when your guts get ripped out, the main thing it's like, oh, your feet get entangled. Yes.
Hit location: head. Results: head pulped and splattered over a wide area. This is a good example of why critical hit tables suck, in my opinion. I don't like critical hit or critical failure tables in general. But anyway. As one 18-year-old player put it, these are games where you get to kill people and get away with it. And Matt.
Yes.
Would you be surprised to hear that much of the violence is sexually oriented? The cover of the
Oh.
and if there's one thing I know about these two men, is they care about the about sexual violence against women. They definitely care about it. The cover of the Eldritch Wizardry supplement to the D&D rulebook pictures a nude woman lying across a sacrificial altar, an image both sexual and occultic in nature. Sadomasochism is listed among the insanities that a character might suffer. Non-violent sexual references also abound. Male characters often attempt to seduce female characters. That's true. He's correct about that. One of the minor malevolent effects is satyriasis, defined as an excessive or abnormal sexual craving in the male. Herbal remedies for venereal diseases are provided in the rulebook. God forbid. Those who profit from the games are quick to defend the emphasis on sex, violence, and sexual violence. Dave Hargrave, creator of Arduin Grimoire, says of his game, "It's deliberately gruesome. You have to blow a hole through that video shell the kids are encased in. They're little zombies. They don't know what pain is. They've never gotten to see a friend taking out a body bag. They've got to understand that what they do has consequences. The world is sex. The world is violence. It's going to destroy most of these kids when they leave TV land."
Who is this game designer, and what is...
I don't know who Dave Hargrave is. I apologize for not looking it up. I have a feeling Dave Hargrave is a Vietnam vet based on the way that he's talking, and is expressing his, suppressed PTSD through writing violent supplements to Dungeons and Dragons. But since I couldn't find out who he was, we'll just have to guess. Anyway.
Damn.
An article in The Dragon made the same defense of D&D ethics. Being evil and tough seems to have a lot of machismo and can draw quite a bit of respect for you in the game. Besides, what we're doing is the way of the universe. Only the strong survive. Nice guys finish last. I'm number one. Might makes right. Quite explicably, the name of the game is Power. Of all the characters, this is my favorite part, man. I'm so excited for this.
Okay.
Of all the characters, the Dungeon Master is clearly the most powerful. D&D enthusiasts have no hesitation in saying that the Dungeon Master is God. But the other characters are equally motivated by lust for power. Power can be exercised by brute force or through magical spells. For some players, this motivation is transferred to real-life relationships. One young player admits that playing D&D encouraged him to be deceptive and manipulative at home and in school. He would purposely get into trouble.
I'm proud of this kid.
He would purposefully get into trouble just for the sake of testing his survival skills in a real-life crisis. He was especially attracted to Merlin, the magician of King Arthur's court. I thought it would be great to have Merlin's spirit inside of me. Then I could do what he used to do. I tried to get deeper and deeper by playing D&D, playing the Ouija board, reading horoscopes, and even having my palm read. What a fucking...
Do not let your kids play D&D.
nerd.
They will start reading T.H. White.
They'll have their horoscopes read.
Yes.
I really got into it a lot, and I would think inside of me that I wasn't scared of anything. I had power too. I believed that I was too tough to be hurt. Nothing could hurt me. I did things like jumping on a Doberman Pinscher that was chasing me, and some guys, and walking off a ledge just to prove the power I had.
I love how the authors have now interviewed the kid from your middle school who's like, "Oh yeah, I totally jumped off my roof onto a trampoline. It was like 20 feet high and did a double flip.
I was fine, yeah." A frustrated writer.
I totally did a 180 and grinded down the rail outside the
these
Stargate
like bullies
Mall.
were chasing me, and I like turned around and punched them, and they ran off because I gave them a bloody nose. It definitely
That's
happened.
right. It was a double roundhouse kick.
Yeah, I totally did it. It was sweet.
I went to the karate thing at the strip mall, but like they were a bunch of wusses there, so that's why I quit. They interviewed Dermot from the Fincher brothers.
A frustrated writer admitted that he experienced an incredible sense of power as Dungeon Master. In some games, they don't call me Dungeon Master, they call me God. Fantasy power is a strong attraction to many people who feel powerless in the real world. For such people, D&D becomes an escape from a drab and burdensome life. Advertisements for D&D play on this aspect. I don't have to just hang around. I can play Dungeons and Dragons. This, I guess, is a quote from a real ad. That doesn't sound very, like ominous
Evil?
to me, but whatever. The degree of escape varies. Some can leave the game behind when the session is over. For others, D&D replaces life. They talk about nothing but their dungeon experiences, when what began as a game becomes a life-dominating obsession. Such was the case with John, in quotation marks, not his real name, a 16-year-old
protecting him.
16-year-old living in Southern California. I am the dungeon master 98% of the time. I am the god of my world, the creator who manipulates the gods and humans. But my bossiness has extended itself into real life. I've exploited and abused people. People have hated me for it. Ever since I was 10, I've wanted to drop out of this world. There's so many flaws. A lot of things are unfair. When I am in my world, I control my own world order. I can picture it all. The groves and trees, the beauty, I can hear the wind. The world isn't like that. It's hazardous. The more time you spend in your fantasy world, the more you want to walk away from the burdensome decisions in life. The more I play D&D, the more I want to get away from this world. No doubt.
Great job, John.
No doubt D&D did not create John's disillusionment, but it provided an outlet for the full expression of his autonomy and rebellion. Yes, God forbid, autonomy and rebellion. Terrible things.
D&D will make you autonomous. No.
In a very dramatic way, D&D reinforced John's hatred for life, as ordered and given by God. Obsessive escapism of this sort.
Man, I forgot that this was like a Christian.
Don't worry, we'll get to the religious part of this.
We're finally getting back to God. Okay.
Obsessive escapism of this sort is virtually equivalent to schizophrenia. Sorry, I forgot this line until I was reading it.
Oh God. What?
One psychologist warned that adolescents may become emotionally and mentally disturbed by obsessive participation in FRPs. The greatest danger I see is the escape from reality.
Writing a novel is basically a mental disease.
That's right. That's right.
Anyone who creates is
reading fiction
clinically insane.
Is a form of insanity. The greatest danger I see is the escape from reality. These kids take their own unacceptable impulses and put them into fantasy. Schizophrenia is a thought disorder, and D&D confuses the way people think. Thoughts not based on reality are dangerous. This also does not have an attribution, so I have no idea who this psychologist is. One enthusiastic player admitted that D&D had made him a virtual schizophrenic. Again, self-diagnosed virtual schizophrenic, sure, whatever. He said he would probably cry if the character he had been directing for 3 years were to die. To this point, I might
honestly, cry. All these things were like, oh, people get really sad when their character dies. I think that's okay. I mean, if you've ever cried in a novel or watching a movie,
is it sad? Dying, is it bad to cry
okay.
when your team loses, like in sports? Because that happens all the time, and I don't know. Anyway, I mean, yes, it is, but like, is it any worse? To this point, Matt, D&D might appear to be only a more graphic form of earlier war games. But Matt, the method of warfare in D&D is entirely different. Magic, witchcraft, casting spells, these are the most desirable and powerful weapons in FRPs. In fact, it is the occultic element that makes FRPs what they are. Without them, they would be grotesque, but essentially run-of-the-mill war games. It is the occultic element that gives players of D&D and its imitators the sense of awesome power. It is the occultic element that leads to a manipulative attitude, and is
Rob, this was just written by a level 8 man-at-arms or fighter who was
pissed about quadratic wizards who'd had enough of being outshined by the flight spell. And it is the occultic element that makes the game so very dangerous. Magic and witchcraft are found on nearly every page of an FRP rulebook. The list of characters from which a player chooses includes magic users, druids, illusionists, and clerics. Why are they upset about clerics? That seems fine. Yeah. This describes the basic function of how spellcasting works, divine versus arcane. They did a lot of research for this.
This person understands D&D.
They really did read the rule book and understand it. They just what they took away from that is exciting and interesting. Many of the spells, incantations, symbols, and protective measures are genuine occultic techniques. Several spells, for example, instruct the player to draw a protective circle when communicating with demons, a practice mat used by real witches. Spells often require...
Let's see. I for example, read the description for casting the message spell and noticed it had a copper wire, which is how, in reality, people communicate across a distance. It's a joke.
Spells often require human blood or flesh. The spell for a cacodemon conjuration. Again, they did their research here.
They know the
Suggests that
schools of magic.
suggests that by tribute of fresh human blood and the promise of one or more human sacrifices, the summoner can bargain with the demon for willing service. Another spell, smacking of biblical references, gives instructions for changing sticks into snakes and back again.
Sticks into snakes.
The Dungeon Master also has a wide
I mean,
variety.
yes, divine spellcasting is taken from the Bible, right?
The Dungeon Master also has a wide variety of monsters and demons to populate his dungeon. Many of these are drawn from Satanism. One monster, the Main, is described as a sub-demon who has gone to the 666 layers of the demonic abyss. Now, as we all know, there are only 9 layers now. They decided to change that.
No, Rob. Remember, it's
sorry, I apologize.
Or hell that has 9 layers.
I apologize. The abyss is infinite.
Abyss
Is
infinite layers.
That's right.
Infinite layers. It's chaos.
The most evil of them are confined in tiers of flames of Gehenna. Beelzebub is listed as an archdemon. They're hellhounds, able to breathe out a scorching fire on an opponent up to a 1-inch distance. The Rakshasa is described as an evil spirit encased in flesh.
Imagine being the subscriber to this newsletter and being like, 1-inch distance? What are they talking about?
That doesn't seem very far away. At the very least, anyone familiar with FRP rulebooks is learning the terminology of witchcraft and Satanism. More likely, a seed is sown, and he is almost imperceptibly drawn into the occult. Of course, the creators of FRPs deny that they are promoting witchcraft. Most claim that they don't even believe in this stuff anyway. And besides, they insist the characters in this game are fighting against these demons. Even some Christians, Matt, have defended the game because of its realistic depiction of evil. But remember, this is in italics, but
realistic depiction of evil. Yes.
Remember that it's not just the monsters who have satanic powers. The heroes, the good guys, also use magic and witchcraft to learn genuine spells and occult techniques. Regardless of the intentions of the creators of FRPs, Dr. Gary North's summary is still accurate. Without any doubt, I don't know what Gary North is a doctor of, by the way. Without any doubt in my mind, after years of study in the history of occultism, after having researched a book on the topic.
I like that Gary North maybe is a doctor of occult studies. I picture him with a fedora and a sword cane.
And after having consulted with scholars in the field of historical research, I can say with confidence,
on the field of historical research,
these games are the most effective, most magnificently packaged, most profitably marketed, most thoroughly researched to the occult in man's recorded history. Period. Man's recorded history.
These are more occultic than actual occultism. Aleister Crowley, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, amateur compared to Gary Gygax. So remember that the subtitle of this is The Catechism of the New Age. So
okay.
the next
Welcome to the New Age.
The next paragraph starts, according to the dictionary, Webster's defines.
God. Wait, we're like,
yeah, don't worry. We're
2/3 of the way through.
We're well into
now
this.
we're going back to the Webster's defines.
Now it's time for the thesis.
Webster's defines commencement.
If I were to grade this paper, I would write, "This is your thesis." Place it at the beginning, and I would also strike the according to the dictionary. But anyway,
congrats to all the teachers out there who are like me, just finished their grading for the year.
According to the dictionary, a catechism is a program of instruction containing a summary of the principles or an introduction to the fundamentals of a subject. Throughout the ages, Christians have used catechisms to teach the ABCs of the faith to their children. By repetition and recitation, the catechisms enable them to...
Always be Christianizing. That's what a catechism is.
By repetition and recitation, the catechisms enabled them to rehearse biblical basics in a fun, easy-to-learn fashion. In an ominously parallel way, Dungeons & Dragons has become a modern-day catechism. The game contains a summary of the principles and an introduction to the fundamentals of the occult. By repetition and recitation, D&D enables children to rehearse occultic basics in a fun, easy-to-learn fashion. Thus, D&D really is a
Repetition.
catechism.
Repetition. I got a 16 to hit. Did you roll a 16? Or is 16 your total? My total is a +4. And so shall it be with you.
I roll
hit
a
the
perception
monster.
check to check for traps. There are no traps. I roll a perception check to check for traps. There are no traps. Thus has it
And
always
peace
been.
be upon you.
Peace be upon you always.
God damn it.
Thus, D&D really is a catechism of occultism. Instead of raising up a generation nurtured and admonished by the things of God, we're systematically weaning
A
our
system
children.
nurtured by good berries and endless decanters of water.
We're systematically weaning our children on the occult. All right, Matt. So we're finally to the final section, which is the Christian response. So,
Okay.
how should a Christian respond to such games? For several reasons, we think they should be simply off limits to Christians. First, virtually all FRPs present a general worldview that is antithetical to Christianity, pure and simple. The games treat magic and witchcraft and Satan as pure fantasy, while the Bible views these as awful realities. An avid...
It's good to know that looking back in the narrow broadcast of this message, this person failed in that, like, through my personal experience, like, most of the people growing up in a fairly Christian part of the country I've met who have played D&D have also considered themselves Christians. So
I want to.
sorry,
So
dude.
I want to point out, and if in case anyone thinks that this is meant to be, it's not a mockery, but it's not exclusively a mockery. My father is a Presbyterian minister. I like him very much. I think that many Christians are good people. I'm not a religious person anymore myself, but this is not meant to be a mockery of Christians in general.
Yes.
Merely this particular text. An avid player begins to treat
Honestly,
these...
I feel like, and sorry to not let you finish.
No, it's okay.
But-
It's fine.
But, like, I feel like D&D, written by a bunch of, Lutherans from Wisconsin or whatever, is really, like, tailor-made for, in its basic form, for American Christians.
I
like,
think
to
that
appeal to them, right?
There's a particular brand of, like, Midwestern Christianity that finds the mere mention of fantastical elements a threat to just, like, the narrow interpretation of the world that is biblical. Like, I remember hearing on the radio of the only stations that were allowed in Edmond, Christian radio stations, mentioning the popularity of Harry Potter, talking about, we should mention, or, there is actual witchcraft in Harry Potter. It is just like, really, like, it's a fantasy book, people. Anyway.
Yeah.
An avid player begins to treat these realities as fairy tales. We must put it even more strongly than this. Not only are gods, devils, and demons treated as fantasy, Jesus himself is included as one of the deities. Note carefully the logic here.
That's true.
It's just this is true. This is true.
Demigod supplement.
Yeah, it's true. Jesus is in there. It's just a game. The monsters aren't real. The magical powers aren't real. The gods aren't real. Jesus is one of the gods. Christ is reduced to the level of fantastic monsters, halflings, dwarves, and elves. We can give this no less a label than blasphemy. Second.
Tolkien really pissed now that you've called his halflings blasphemous.
Blasphemy. Second, most FRPs take place in a thoroughly Manichaean universe, where law and chaos are equally powerful, and, in a strange sense,
Way to pull out Manichaean, however you fucking say it, in this.
Yeah, equally powerful, and, in a strange sense, equally good. Characters can choose to align themselves with law or chaos.
Now I'm picturing Franz Fanon, being like,
Yeah,
Dungeons
right.
and Dragons is Manichaean. It is a tool of the colonizer.
Oh god, we should do well, we should not. Maybe
No,
I
we
will.
shouldn't.
Maybe I will record a post-colonial reading of the basic Dungeons and Dragons rules, as seen through Fanon and Foucault and Derrida. Anyway,
Yeah, that sounds great.
I will not do this. You will not be subjected to this. There are, let's see, blah, blah, blah. There are good and evil deities. The spells suggest the use of either holy or unholy water. In such a universe, magic can either be white or black, good or evil, and it doesn't matter which. Obsessive players who become deeply attached to their characters are training themselves to view reality in the same way. Third.
This is neutral mage erasure. I wear the red robes of neutrality like my boy Rastilian.
That's right.
Rastalin.
Raistlin.
Whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, Raistlin. Yeah. Third, Scripture explicitly forbids tampering with magic and witchcraft, divination, human sacrifice, and many of the other common elements of most FRPs. See, for example, Exodus 22:18,
yes,
Deuteronomy 9 through blah blah blah, Leviticus,
The witch of whatever. Yeah,
thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, etc. Saul was severely.
Is that from Firefly or the Bible?
It's from the Bible.
Okay.
Saul was severely rebuked for practicing witchcraft. This is in Samuel. I don't remember this. Witchcraft.
Yeah. There's that witch. She lives in a cave or something.
Oh yeah. Witchcraft and divination are attempts to gain wisdom, favor, and power apart from God's ordained means, and thus involve a thorough rejection of God's authority. Witchcraft is associated in the scripture with rebellion, idolatry, and adultery. In defending FRPs, many people have pointed out the obvious fact that most fairy tales, the Brothers Grimm, J.R.R. Tolkien, or C.S. Lewis, for example, are full of witches, goblins, and sorcerers. But the heroes of these stories aren't the witches and sorcerers. Only
Gandalf? Hello? Gandalf? Is Gandalf
This is not true, but whatever.
Okay, yeah. He's a magic angel. Fine.
That's right, he's a magic angel, man.
No, he's a goddamn wizard. In the first story, he's just a wizard.
He's a wizard. These
Tolkien's
guys
retconning his own stuff.
These guys are shoehorning the facts to fit their narrative. Only the evil witch can change the prince into a frog. The prince.
Also, it's been forever since I read it, but I feel like there is a good wizard in C.S. Lewis.
I believe so too, but I don't remember very well.
Whatever.
Yeah. The prince himself uses entirely mortal means. Sorcery is always a temptation in fairy tales. Again, this is not true, but whatever. Yeah. As Lewis's and Tolkien's mentor, G.K. Chesterton, pointed out, the genius of fairy tales lies in the fact that the hero is a normal person in an abnormal world, and innocent among ravaging nether beasts. Aragorn is himself explicitly magical. He does not cast spells, but he has, he lives longer than a mortal man. He has the healing powers of a king,
every half of fairy you can't make any blanket statements about fairy tales, even something as narrow as European peasant folk tales.
Right.
Yeah, there are tons of them where the normal person masters the supernatural and uses it to their advantage.
This next part is really good. Make the hero abnormal and you destroy the tension and interest, not to mention the moral focus of the entire narrative. There's all the difference.
That's why we cannot read the X-Men comics. Get them out of here.
Get them out of here. There's all the difference in the world between Hansel and a dwarf cleric who casts spells. Both may mean a witch, but they react differently.
Both are hungry for gingerbread.
The dwarf covets the witch's power. Hansel just wants a chance to shove her into the oven. This next section is called How Should We Then Play? And I'm going to skip it because it's mostly all these biblical examples of play and acting.
How should
role
we then live?
Playing, and it's, yes, we're supposed to have fun, but not too much fun. And, blah, 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 blah. We should do role-playing, but not too much role-playing.
Okay.
In summary, the scripture encourages leisure play and even role-playing, though always within the limits of the moral law.
Role-playing is only allowed within the confines of marriage.
That's right. Conjugal role-playing only. In summary, scripture encourages leisure play and even role-playing, though always within the limits of the moral law. In the context of these standards, however, our imaginations find true freedom. Like the sheep to which scripture so often compares us, our freest play is within the fold. Outside, there is only the bondage of fear that allows
Back to sleep, sheeple, please.
The bondage of fear that allows for no real leisure. Practical matters. Okay, so now, what's a parent to do? How can we both protect our children from the evil effects of Dungeons and Dragons and teach them a healthy biblical perspective of play? First, as parents, we must make certain that our families begin to build a spiritual life together. Simply going to church on Sundays is not enough. A family needs to pray together, study the Bible together, and celebrate the seasons together. Our children need to see us modeling a fully orbed, comprehensive Christian walk that touches every area.
Wait,
orbed,
what?
orbed, O-R-B-E-D, orbed. Comprehensive Christian walk that touches every area of life.
DJ,
roll that back.
Orbed?
Orbed?
That sounds pretty occult to me.
To me.
What
is it?
Maybe my mind's been warped by the time
the orb
the president
touched
the orb.
but still,
But,
yeah. And they must be invited, Matt, to walk that walk with us. Second, as parents, we must make certain that our families have plenty of fun together. By watching us have fun, our children learn how to have good, wholesome fun. By watching our friendships in action, they learn how to make godly friendships. By watching us play, they see what righteous recreation is like. And by including our children in our fun, our friendships, and our play, we beckon them to walk in our footsteps. That is the essence of discipleship. And that is the essence of parenting. Teaching by doing. Third, as parents, we must explain our rules to our children. It is not enough to say no. Our children must need to know why we've said no. If we don't want to let them watch some of the Saturday morning cartoons that
if your players are like,
I was just gonna say,
I want to jump the castle wall. I roll a jump check. You're like, well,
this is
actually
impossible. I was gonna say this is great advice for a dungeon master.
Explain.
Yeah, this paragraph. If you're a dungeon master, listen to this. This is good advice. If we don't want to let them watch some of the Saturday morning cartoons that all the other kids watch, then we ought to offer a reasonable and scriptural explanation. For example, you can't jump the castle wall because the Dungeon Master's Guide explicitly says that you have to, Perhaps we can even turn the programs on for a few minutes every once in a while, pointing out the problems to our children and providing them with the basic tools they'll need to exercise discernment themselves.
We get to watch 3 minutes of He-Man.
Yeah, exactly 1 minute of She-Ra to point out why it's feminist drivel and can't be tolerated. Don't just say no to Dungeons and Dragons or anything else. We must equip our children so that they can say no without us having to say a thing. Fourth, as parents, we need to provide the right kind of entertainment for our families. Good books should always be available, and they should be read. Why not read a chapter of C.S. Lewis's Narnia series before bed every night? A funny story, my family actually did this for years. This was our nightly ritual. It was fine. We went through a period where my parents were very insistent on doing devotionals every night before bed, and my sister and I were absolutely so fucking tired of every devotionals book that we got, so as a compromise, we got to read Narnia.
That's fine compromise.
It was a good compromise.
Mr. and Mrs. Beaver are here to talk to you about the Wicked Witch.
Or maybe G.K. Chesterton's Father Brown series. Or you could watch the great BBC series Father Brown.
Yeah, that one's okay.
Or even C.H. Spurgeon's John Plowman series. I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you. What about J.R.R. Tolkien or George MacDonald or Dorothy Sayers or John Bunyan or William Shakespeare?
Okay, well,
or John
all
Milton.
Of these, including John Bunyan, are gonna make you want your kids play D&D.
Or Geoffrey Chaucer. John Milton is likely to make your kids sinners. They're gonna be like, why is Lucifer sexy and right? I'm not sure what the point I'm trying to take away from this is.
I think there's also an antinomian undercurrent to Pilgrim's Progress too.
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
Rebel against the Church of England.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to indoctrinate your children with some of these very good but absolutely rebellious books.
Yeah,
but don't stop with books. Fill your home with good music, beautiful art, challenging crafts, and lovely plants. Every one of us has limitations, differing gifts, skills, talents, and financial resources, but all of us can see what we have to do creatively and wisely. Paperbacks, cassettes, and posters are very inexpensive, and anyone can transform a pile of construction paper, glue, scissors, glitter, and crayons into a rollicking good time.
Yay.
In conclusion, Matt, Dungeons and Dragons is a dangerous game. It serves as an introduction to evil, a catechism of occultism, a primer for the ABCs of the New Age. It is a occulting tool of Satan. It can alter the daily behavior of regular players. It stimulates the seamier side of our imaginations.
Yes.
It is an enormously attractive and effective escape for people frustrated with life. For many, it becomes pure, obsessive fantasy in its most destructive form. It is no longer a game, an imaginative diversion, but a substitute universe in which the player pretends to be his own god and to make his own rules. D&D is not the only problem among young people. The statistics on teenage suicide, however misinterpreted in the major media, are indicative of a widespread dissatisfaction and disillusionment among our youth. This is the larger problem.
No gods, no dungeon masters.
And this problem is often exacerbated by D&D. Games reflect as well as reinforce the faith consensus of a culture. As such, D&D is the perfect game for the New Age 80s, providing the self-indulgent escapism of drugs without the harmful physical effects. You can get a hallucinogenic high and still make it to the health club for your workout.
Can we make some I'm high on D&D?
Kind that they would consider that Dungeons & Dragons players are going to the health club and working out. Taking a wider view, we might say that FRPs take modernity to its logical conclusion. Since Descartes, Matt, modern man has retreated from the bright light of God into the dark world of his own mind and imagination. Through his world,
some proto-dark enlightenment.
Through his world is a dungeon populated by dragons, demons, and monsters. And he says, with Milton Satan, better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven.
Yes!
Yes, he does.
We agree.
I agree. Thankfully, as parents,
better to be a dungeon master of D&D than to just play The Witcher 2 by yourself.
Thankfully, as parents, we can provide our children with wholesome alternatives. We can protect them from the strangely magnetic allure of dungeons. We can win the war for their hearts and minds and souls. If only we would. So
wow,
that was
what a slice of life from the 80s.
I mean, as we have remarked throughout this, it's incredible how good the author's understanding of Dungeons and Dragons is. Their conclusions are just absolutely bonkers. Like they clearly read it thoroughly. But then concluded, despite the fact that by all evidence this is a game written by, like you said, entirely ordinary American dorks for other dorks. Like, you know, there's like nothing sinister about it. So sorry that this took so long, Matt. Yeah. I was trying to skip through, but there was just so much good stuff to cover in this document. But yeah.
So Rob, I have a surprise for you. Just because you started talking about this, I had no idea what this article would be, but a bunch of people were talking about this on D&D Twitter a couple months ago. And I found a copy on eBay for like $30. So I went ahead and ordered it. And it's a role-playing game from the same period of time, published in 1984 by Adventure Learning Systems out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. And it's called Dragon Raid. It's basically a story about light raiders. And it is a explicitly C.S. Lewis allegory Christian role-playing game for use in your local Sunday schools.
Oh man, can you scan it and send it to me so that we can read it, or is it? It
is very long. It is very long, but it's really exciting in that you are a server of the Maker, who on other worlds is known as God, and his great son, and you are fighting the Great Red Dragon in the land of Eden again.
Of Satan,
you serve the overlord
great dragon
of many,
Satan,
many
with his 7 heads, heralded by 7 trumpets.
Sadly, it doesn't get like as weird and cool as the Book of Revelation.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing.
You know, you learn word runes and stuff.
I wonder what Peter Leinhart and George Grant would think of Light Raiders.
I don't know. I don't think they would like it.
I don't think they would either. I think that even using magic or clerical powers in the service of God is still witchcraft, Matt, still forbidden by the Bible. any straying from. So here's my question, Matt. What if what if your party consists entirely of martial characters? What if you are 5 fighters? Is that still satanic witchcraft and occult in the eyes of these authors?
I think fighters are halal, right? I think it's acceptable if you are all fighters, if no one uses any magic. So their ideal party would be like a Conan-esque.
It would be. That's right.
Thief fighter who is afraid of wizardry.
What do we have from this time period that like doesn't have any? Like, are there any of those like super hardcore like medieval combat society games out in 87? Those ones that are like all like obscene dice rolling about combat abilities. I don't know if any of those exist yet, but I'm sure I'm sure they wouldn't disapprove of those. I guess those are just like war games, which are probably fine in the eyes of Lythart and Grant.
Right. If you're recreating the Battle of Helm's Deep, it's cool as long as no one casts a buff spell.
I wonder if Gandalf lighting up his staff is witchcraft, like, because they're not wrong that Gandalf's magic is subtle, but it is still magic. Even in Lord of the Rings, when Tolkien weirdly retcons him or makes him a magic angel rather than just a fucking wizard. I have some quibbles with.
Yeah, I don't know, but now I think, Rob, we should do our research and see if we can come together and do a nice, hour-long condensed history of the, like, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, that's what got me thinking about this.
Panic. But that was what a gem of a reading series from our friends in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I was so glad to find this. I got linked to this from a Chick track, which was also pretty funny, but was basically just a rewriting of this, much worse. It was like a much, like, basically like plagiarized summary of this document. But
I mean, I think we've all seen that that panel of Thornleaf, no,
but there was a whole document on Chick.com that was just this. But I will say this was relatively well written, and despite being absolute nonsense, thoroughly argued. I disagree with everything, but the authors are not like absolute morons. They just are hysterical about Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while, Matt. We will do an hour-long deep dive of the satanic panic, of bothered about Dungeons and Dragons, James Dallas Egbert, and all this, and try to summarize for you what
Michael
happened.
Stackpole to the rescue as he grabbed his joystick and twisted a half-barrel roll to the left and brought his lasers online. Sorry. Love you, Michael Stackpole.
Lord and Savior.
Your writing is...
well, it was good enough for the 90s.
It was good enough for teens.
So I think, unfortunately, I've taken up all of our time in reading a Christian response to Dungeons and Dragons, a catechism for the New Age by Peter Lythart and George Grant. I will include a link to this. Yeah. Thank you all for listening to this this reading series, our first inaugural Dungeon Master of None reading series. I really hope you enjoyed it, because I sure did. We'll probably do some more.
It was a lot of fun.
They will probably not be this long, but we'll do this again. So if you have thoughts, concerns, questions, comments, write us at dungeonmasterofnone@gmail.com. Add us on Twitter at DM of None.
Or give us a call at the Dungeon Master Hotline, 774-203-4629.
Thank you all for listening. Stay inside, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep rolling them dice.
Bye.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. a reading rainbow.